We're back with the show. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here, and I had to get I had to get her back on. I had to get this young lady back onto the show with all the news that's come down, the rumors, the innuendo, all the stuff that's come down regarding The Walking Dead. Is it gone after season 12? Is it not? I mean, we're hearing the rumors even on her own Facebook groups that she helps run. She's seeing right and left this article being posted, that article being posted, this rumor being posted, that rumor being posted. Now that Michonne has left and Denai Guerrera is obviously, had such a great run with The Walking Dead, what's her status going forward? Is she going to be, is she going to be having her own spinoff as also rumored? Is she going to be part of the Rick Grimes movies that are coming up in it was the not too distant future. Now it looks like it's going to be the distant future, but maybe someday we'll have the Rick Grimes movies. But here to talk about everything Walking Dead with me is just an awesome person indeed. She is the main cog in the whole machinery when it comes to the Facebook groups Talking the Dead 18 Plus and the Walking Dead fan base, which is a huge group based off of the Walking Dead. So if you want to talk Walking Dead, you go to either one of those groups today on Facebook. It's Daphine Matthew. And Daphne, got to give me the scoops, young lady. What's going on with the Walking Dead? We just watched another great episode tonight. I know you're really excited. But I was really excited. But last we spoke, there was some head rolling going on, courtesy of Negan, who had basically ended one part of the Whisper Wars with the decapitation of Alpha. And, obviously with Alpha, there's still Gamma floating about. So that's something obviously in question as well. But I guess the first main question I really want to ask you is last week's episode with Denai Guerrera finally ending her run on the show as Michonne. They dedicated a show to her, which was kind of weird because it seemed like it was almost out of sequence because they had the stuff going on with the Whisper Roar. Then all of a sudden they just put that right in there. And then now they're back, doing whatever it is they're going to be doing now. But it was a great tribute episode to her and all the things that she's brought to the show. So I want to hear your thoughts on Denai Guerrera's departure. How was it handled? Was it handled with the class that you were hoping it would be? And what's her future going like for The Walking Dead, if there is at all?
Oh, you gave me all the loaded questions in one shot.
All the one shot, because I know if I go time by time, we're not going to be able to get it all in time. So I want to be able to make sure you can talk as much as you can about Michonne and the great career for Denai Guerrera on The Walking Dead.
Well, Denai Guerrera is an awesome actress, writer, producer. She is a force to be reckoned with. Her run on the show is basically over. They left it open-ended because they're hoping that they could get her to appear in the Rick Grimes movies, although she's not contracted. There's no guarantee she will be able to appear in the movies because she is actually doing a show now for HBO. She also, a couple of months ago, was announced she signed a multi-program deal with ABC Studios to produce shows for ABC. So, and then she has her Avengers movies. So she's a pretty busy lady right now. So I'm not sure if she's going to be back. In regards to the episode is out of sequence. Her last episode was actually supposed to air 2 weeks ago on March 14th before Alpha's death and all that, but they put it, I don't know why they put it out of sequence, because if you look at it, when people on the West Coast get a chance to see the episode, you're going to see it appears a little bit out of sequence. It doesn't gel well, so I don't know why they did it. Maybe because they wanted her departure to be later in the series than they originally planned, but it was a little out of sequence. It kind of knocked out the continuity because this episode tonight is a continuation of what happened 2 weeks ago. And it's like, okay, we have the episode with Michonne leaving. and then we're right back at where we were 2 weeks ago. It's a little confusing, but I don't understand why they did it, but we'll leave it at that. I want to speak about her final episode. I thought, as far from a fan perspective and somebody who's been involved with The Walking Dead since 2010 when it first aired, I thought it was done well up until the end. I'm going to leave and I'll tell you why I didn't like the ending, but I thought 95% of the episode was amazing. I thought taking her back through a drug state of what her life could have been like had she not saved Andrea was an awesome, awesome concept. The only thing I didn't like was the ending, because the ending itself with her finding a pair of boots, okay, they wanted to believe they're Rick Grimes' boots. It's a little bit, it was a little disappointing. I thought they could have did a better ending for her. I didn't want to see her die, but I think to have her go off at the behest of Judith to find Rick with no other proof than a pair of boots and a picture on a phone that a lot of people are believing was supposed to be her and Judith, but it was actually her and Carl because Rick never saw Judith grow up. When the brick explosion happened, Judith was still a toddler. So he never saw what Judith looked like now. I thought that was a little disappointing. And there's been a lot of debate the last week over that ending, where a lot of people agree that that was not the best ending for a character as powerful as Michonne. I mean, it's pretty much they've done that before. They had Daryl let Dwight go to go find Sherry at the end of season 8. They had Morgan leave to go find himself when he left, and now we have Michonne leaving to go and find Rick with very little proof, because nobody that she encountered in that episode could actually confirm that Rick was alive. They found boots, they found a phone. Nobody else, not even Virgil, confirmed that Rick was alive. So it was like kind of a disappointing. I understand why they're doing it, because Scott Gimple is hoping, and we'll say hope, because he's even admitted that he hopes to get her in the movies. If they happen. The movies right now, just as life itself right now, is on pause. We won't even see episode 16 of season 10 until later this year. Fear the Walking Dead has been postponed. The New World, or The World Beyond, has been postponed because of what's going on in the world today. So right now, I mean, even with the movies, it's like really vague as what is going on. The last report that we got, and we can't even confirm it, but somebody posted on Twitter some vague post that he had ran into Andrew Lincoln in the UK. He's a UK person. He actually worked in some aspect of the TWD universe, and he said the script was 60% done, but they still don't have a director, they still don't have a script, and they still don't have a major studio to back it. I mean, one of the things about a lot of people don't understand with these movies is that AMC can't put it out. They're not a major movie studio. They have to get the backing of a major studio. So since they don't have that, everything's on pause as far as those movies. And now that everything in this world is topsy-turvy and pushed back until God knows when, we may see a movie next year, we may not see a movie next year, but here's to hoping that at least one movie happens. I'll say I'm hoping one movie happens, if not all three. So that's where we're at today. But like I said, the episode itself, it was good. It just left, I'm going to say, a lot of people, if you look on Facebook, they were let down with how her departure was, because looking at it from her beginning, when she lost Andre, during she was out on the run and he got killed when the camp was overtaken, when she finally told her story, to have knowing she's gone through that experience and to just have her leave without seeing her other children again was really a big disappointment, because it's like, really, from a parental perspective, wouldn't you go back to say goodbye to your kids? You already have this information. What is stopping you from going back to Alexandria or wherever they are to say goodbye to your kids face to face? So that was the big drawback from that episode. But other than that, everybody has the same opinion. They thought her seeing how her life could have been was great. I thought they did that so well. I thought that having Daryl shoot her with arrows and then Rick kill her was awesome. So that's where we're at with that episode. Now, as far as the episode before it, let's talk about that a little bit. So we saw I'm going to say this because I read the comics. The Whisperer War has not started yet. The Whisperer War actually started after Negan killed Alpha. So we have not seen the Whisperer War. We've seen some conflict with the Whisperers. We'll say the Whisperer conflict. The actual war is going to start next week. I've seen tonight's episode, and everything that happened tonight is leading to the war that's about to start. But unfortunately, because everybody in the TW Walking Dead universe knows for a fact that we will not even get to see the season finale on time. We don't know when they're going to air it because of what's going on in the world with the coronavirus. Everything is shut down, so they have not even did the editing for episode 16. So we won't see what's going to happen in the finale. There's a lot of speculation, as always. There's a lot of rumors going out that major characters will be leaving the show within the next, I'm going to say next week, somebody major is definitely going to die, because now that they've played this episode, Beta is leading the herd to Alexandria. So basically now the Whisperer War is about to start. So we're at the point now where a major character is going to die. Who will it be? That's a good question. There are two characters I can think of. One of them actually died in the comics, so that's Father Gabriel. The other one is speculation because she has signed on to do a Netflix series, and that is Rosita. So we have two characters that could die next week. Could also be Ezekiel, but Ezekiel has cancer, so we don't know where his story is going right now. So right now, we have a lot of stuff coming up. We have one more episode to get through, and we will see what's going to happen next week. As far as you want to know about the rumors, I know what you're waiting for. You want to know what we've been talking about the last 2 days.
Yeah, and that's something I want to go ahead and address right now. But before we do, just want to mention to everybody again, if you haven't heard, or we were trying to go ahead and do vague spoilers the past couple weeks. On this episode, the one that aired this past weekend, there was the better reasoning why Negan did what he did when it concerns killing Alpha. And obviously, like you said, it's going to set up the future expansion of the Whisper Wars and to actually get into that storyline. And you'll see more reason. If you haven't caught it yet, or if you're going to watch it on the delayed basis, 3 or 7 days, I'll tell you what, it's just something to see, because it does set up something that's going to be very important for the near future, the Whisper War, that's getting a lot of people back into the series. And speaking of the series, this is something I want to talk to you right now about, and that is the future of the series, because we've talked about the possibility of movies happening. I'm going to tell you right now, I won't think I don't think that there will be a Rick Grimes movie until 2022 at the earliest, to be honest with you, just because the fact it has to be a year. Let's say they started production now. You're talking about a movie coming out maybe a year from now. And as the longer it takes for this delay, the longer it takes for that movie to get started in production. So I'm assuming 2022 at the earliest for any Rick Grimes movie. And the Rick Grimes movies and the first Rick Grimes movie would have to do well before you even considered a second or a third. Because if they don't make money from it, it's not going to fly. It's not going to fly for a second or third. And then you're right about trying to find a distributor and a major movie outlet, movie studio to go ahead and help finance it, whether it's Disney, which they kind of own AMC. I think they kind of pay the checks for AMC, from what I remember. But also, you know, if they're going to go ahead with Sony or whoever's going to fit the bill for it, not both domestically and internationally. So it's going to be some time before we even hear any inkling more of Rick Grimes movie. But the question on everybody's mind in your groups, and that is Talk the Dead 18 plus and the Walking Dead fan base, is something you and I have talked about before, and something you and I thought was going to happen. We were pretty sure was going to happen, that The Walking Dead would end with season 12. In recent days, we've seen reports on your own Facebook groups from one person, posting, from a legitimate source that it's going to be this, and another person posting from a legitimate news source that it's going to be that. So I want to hear, in your opinion, with your experience with The Walking Dead and knowing what you know, are you going to still stay with the comments you've made on this show that The Walking Dead will end with season 12?
Okay, I'm going to put it this way. The show as it is today, with the characters that it has today, is going to end with season 12. A lot of people are, how should I say it, they're resistant to it. Having said that, there's an explanation for that. The flagship show, the original show, is going to end with season 12. AMC hasn't announced it yet, but this has been something that's been known since season 3. The original series was only going to be, if it could carry that far, 12-season run. That is an incredible amount of time for people to be dedicated to this show. We have Melissa McBride that's still on the show from season 1. We have Norman Reedus that's still on the show from season 1. We have characters like Josh McDermott, who plays Ezekiel, Kristen Serrato, who plays Rosita, who's been there 8 or 9 years. These people had dedicated their lives to this show for such a long time. And yeah, Scott Gimple, a couple of other people that said they have enough in their can for 20 seasons. They did not mean the flagship show in particular. As you know, they're shooting off in different directions. They have Fear the Walking Dead, and then they have this new show that was supposed to start next month. But again, just like the season finale of The Walking Dead, it's been pushed back indefinitely. The Walking Dead, The World Beyond. The thing is that as a fan, you never want to see a show, and you want a show to go on forever and ever. But it comes time to a point where, first of all, they were, how should I say, they were betting on the fact that Robert Kirkman, who writes the comics, which is the source material for the main show, they were riding on him a couple of years ago, stating that he was not going to end the comics until comic 400. And then what happened in July, comic number 193, he ended the comics. So looking at it from that perspective, they have enough source material for the main show for another 2 seasons. The Whisperer War is starting. That's not going to be resolved in 2 episodes. That's not going to happen. So we're seeing the Whisperer War will continue into season 11. And then we have the Commonwealth story starting probably after the mid-season in season 11 and continuing on through season 12. And then the show ends and it resets. This has happened in a lot of shows. I mean, if you think about it, I'm not that old, but Star Trek for let's talk about Star Trek. For you Trekkie fans, Star Trek has been around since 1967 in some way, shape, or form. The original series came out. It lasted 3 years, and here we are in 2020, and there are still Star Trek shows popping up every couple of years. It has not ended. So the argument on Facebook and that we've been having, or the debate I should say we've been having, is that yeah, the flagship show is going to end in 2 years. They running out of source material. They're going in different directions. Scott Gimple has been talking about spinoffs for Beta. That's one of the things that's coming down the pipe. There is a rumor about doing a Michonne spinoff. They are talking about taking the story in the universe itself in different directions where it will not need the base show. Could that work? Why not? It's worked for other shows. I mean, we have shows that's been on the air for 20 years and they have survived without the original cast or most of the original cast. So why can't The Walking Dead do it? I know people have been in love with Norman Reedus since he showed up in season 1. But you have to think about it from the perspective of how they make their living. These people did not sign on to make their life one show. They have to go do other things. Denai Guerrero decided to leave because before she was an actress, Denai Guerrero was a writer. She was a producer. She did some acting. She's done Broadway shows. Now she's leaving. She left The Walking Dead to pursue her real love, which is creating other shows, other avenues for other entertainers to get noticed in this world. So we have to look at it realistically. Yeah, we don't want these people to leave. We want them to live on forever on the show in some way, shape, or form. But these people want to do other things. Little do people know, one of the characters that I do believe will be leaving at the end of this season is Rosita. She signed on to do the Netflix series Serena, which started filming but stopped because of what's going on in the world today. And it's a 2-year contract. So she's leaving. So I'm just at the point where, there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of people who don't want to see the show end, but we have to look at it realistically. 12 years for one show in these days and times with the way people just want to cancel shows because of numbers is amazing. I mean, we went from a show that was averaging 15 million viewers to now we're in the 3-4 million range per episode. And that's because of the way people look at it differently now as opposed to 10 years ago. So, I mean, everything comes to an end. I don't want it to end, but the real realization is that it's going to end. And from what I'm hearing, 2022 is when it will end, which would be good, okay, I'm going to backtrack. The reason why they say 2022 is when it's going to end is because this new show, the World Beyond, is only a limited 2-year series. So it was supposed to start this year. It's going to end in the same year that The Walking Dead show now ends, and they're going to merge those two shows. The reason why I don't put Fear the Walking Dead in is because I'm sorry. I'm going to put it there. I'm hoping they give it a mercy killing after this year and just cancel that show, because that show at one time was supposed to be the show that would merge the Walking Dead universe with other universes, but because of the changes in the showrunners the last 2 seasons and the change in the writing. It's become, I can't even describe what last season was. I mean, if you asked me anything about last season, I couldn't tell you because it was a terrible season. So now they brought in the World Beyond to be that catalyst that joins the Walking Dead universe to a different universe, and that's going to end both shows. And going back to what you were saying about the Rick Grimes movies, I believe like you believe it's going to come out in 2022 as 2022 as the flagship show ends. It has to. I mean, from what I'm hearing about the first movie, hopefully, if it ever finishes getting written, is that it's supposed to be what happens. It's not even going to have any tie-in with the show. The first movie is not going to have any tie-in with the show. It's supposed to be what happens to him after the bridge incident. After the bridge blows up, it's supposed to be what happens to him during that 6-year period, because there was a huge time jump after the bridge. So now it's supposed to be telling his story from there. Now, they have never said, as far as the movies go, if they're ever going to connect it to the show. My understanding is that they're not supposed to, but now they're looking at trying to bring Denai back. They're trying to bring certain characters back that are still on the show. They might appear in the movie. They might reunite him with his children. There's a lot of they might do. And until we see the first movie, we don't know what direction these movies are going. So right now, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we get the first movie, and then they can think about the other two. So that's where we're at right now. That's about it as far as I have to say about the movies, but you're going to hear a lot. There has been some semi-confirmed sources that the show is ending in 2022. There are some not, I'll say op-eds out there that saying the show is ending in 2022. There's a lot of behind the scenes talk that the show is ending in 2022. We'll have to see. One thing I do know that's definite is that it has been renewed for season 11. It was renewed for season 11 even before the first episode of season 10 aired. So we know there is a season 11 sometime in the future. We don't know when, because production right now is shut down completely. They will not be filming anything anytime soon. So hopefully, I don't know how they're going to do this. I really don't know, because right now the world is at a pause. We are at a pause. We don't have any idea of when anything new is going to come out. The World Beyond has been delayed not because the show isn't completed, it's because they can't do the press for the show because of social distancing. Fear the Walking Dead is delayed because they haven't finished filming the season 6. So right now, everything is at pause. We have no idea when anything The Walking Dead related is coming back on. I'm really disappointed because I would like to see the finale in 2 weeks, but we're not going to get that in 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens indeed. The Commonwealth is just around the corner, as so is the Whisper Wars. Those are coming very, very soon to everything that's coming for The Walking Dead. So we're excited to see what's happening in the near future, in the not too distant future, for The Walking Dead. And for all your information when it comes to The Walking Dead, there is no better place to go than Talking to Dead 18 Plus, and one of the largest Facebook groups out there dedicated to all things Walking Dead. That is the Walking Dead fan base. You got to join both groups today on Facebook. Daphne, as always, I cannot thank you enough for the update on The Walking Dead. looking so forward to seeing what, whenever they finish the season, what goes on with The Walking Dead, with the Whisper Wars coming up, and also as well the Commonwealth coming on the horizon. Pittsburgh, as they say. But I'll tell you what, it's just so great to have you on the show. Great to have you part as always, and cannot thank you enough for being part of the pop culture cosmos.
Oh, I thank you for your time. Well, if you haven't seen tonight's episode, I'm going to tell you you're in for a good surprise. It's very interesting how they continued on with the storyline with Alpha. We have some of Carol. We have a lot of Carol having issues, we'll say, with her mental state, but she snaps out of it. We have a new character that came out, the princess. And it's a good episode. You'll really enjoy it. The last thing, there was a clue that came out in Fear the Walking Dead a couple of seasons ago as to Beta's real identity. Well, it came up tonight. So if you look at the episode carefully, you will know who Beta was before the world turned. It was a good episode. I think as far as seasons go, this season to me is on the same level as far as intensity as season 4 was. So I was a big fan of season 4 and season 5, and it's right up there as one of my favorite seasons. So I think it's going in a good direction, but I'm just disappointed that we're not going to see what happens in the last, the finale for an undefined amount of time right now. I do know, and this is just a little spoiler alert, I'll say before we go, is that this season is going to end with a cliffhanger. I don't know what the cliffhanger is yet, but they have hinted as there's going to be a huge cliffhanger at the end of the season. One of the things that has not been resolved yet is the where's Connie question. We haven't seen Connie since episode 9, and nobody's asking about her. So I'm scratching my head trying to figure out why is nobody asking where's Connie? So with that, I'm going to leave you with the Connie situation is still not resolved. And that's it for tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to The Walking Dead. Maybe even a little bit of country music, perhaps, in the near future. But then again, that's like I said, that's alpha or beta to me. I'm not going to go ahead and any further into that and spoil it for anybody else. But it is a great time indeed when you're watching The Walking Dead these days, with the Whisper Wars coming up, the Commonwealth in the not too distant future, and everything going on with The Walking Dead. And make sure you be part of the conversation today at the Walking Dead fan base, and of course, Talking the Dead 18 plus on Facebook. Daphne,
right.
Daphne, it's great to have you. It's great to have you on, giving us that Walking Dead update as always. Looking forward to the next one right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos.
All right. Talk to you guys soon.